Okay. I want to say we're live, but we're going to let Facebook do its thing for just a minute while we make sure that we are. And I'm super, super excited to be here today with the incredible Miss Sarah Snyder. And she's going to share her story and her journey. And we're going to kind of just jump right in on this Client Spotlight series. So I just want to get started by asking you, did you always know that you wanted to help support women and girls in their mental health?
I did actually. I have always known that. Honestly, ever since I was little, I was probably doing that in ways that I didn't even realize. And then I went to school for I became a licensed clinical social worker and a therapist, mental health therapist. Um, and that's just kind of where I thought I would be focused. Like that's the business that I started and I've been so passionate about and loving. Um, and it's been, it's been years that I've been in this particular business. Yeah,
I love that you kind of knew it from when you were a little girl. Like you just had that
totally.
ingrained in you. Like, can you share with us maybe how you kind of saw that now looking back in retrospect, how that kind of showed up even as a child?
Oh, totally. I was like a camp counselor. I was like, I've been a counselor and a teacher my whole life. Honestly, it just took different forms. I've also been a coach my whole life. I just didn't call myself that. You're right.
Love that. And I think it's so relatable, right? Is that we
Yeah.
kind of inherently do the things that end up becoming our genius and our innovation and all of that, but we don't always recognize it. So it's really powerful that you on your own as a kid kind of started to see those patterns that you were kind of gravitating towards the same thing. So I love hearing that because I think for a lot of people, they spend an entire lifetime trying to get there and you had figured it out even from a young age. That was the direction you were going in. So I love that.
Yeah. Well, I've always loved to help people. That's
See,
the
and
bottom
that's
line.
amazing. Like, but
Yeah.
I'm saying even knowing like I love to help people, but translating that into something that actually is the work, I think in and of
Yeah.
itself is huge.
Yeah. 100%.
So my next question for you is how did you get here? Like what ultimately led to this big change that we're here to talk about right now? Like what made you see this opportunity or what were
Mhm.
some things that happened that really allowed you to get to the space of being able to innovate in your industry?
Yeah, totally. Well, so like I said, I was a camp counselor. I was literally an educator and a high school counselor for 12 years. Um, and then I went into private practice when I had my first child. Um, and being a therapist has been incredible. And most of the clients that have gravitated towards me have been girls and women. Like I specialize with teen girls and with women. And during the pandemic, honestly, like I've had a wait list for the last, I don't know, 3 years, 4 years. I mean, it's been kind of crazy. And so I hate turning people away. And I was like,
Yeah.
there has to be a better way to provide like greater mental health education and like access to support and
Mm,
care. And that was sort of when my coaching practice was born. But I didn't want to call it a coaching practice. I was really resistant and like I didn't I didn't know what to call it. And that is where you came in. Like I knew that I wanted to be able to help more women. And so
mhm.
I started my Facebook group and I like started the process of the coaching business, but I didn't know how to like get my message to reach people. And that's where you came in.
Yeah. And I
And
think it's a
yeah,
matter of like at that moment, I remember you and I getting on the call and like having that conversation. And I was like, why do you want to do this? Like, why is this important? And you saying that I want to be able to bring this to so many more people. And even on that call, I want to say that we even on that call discovered that
mhm,
while you had the ability to do counseling and all that amazing stuff that you were already doing with your clients and very successfully, you had all these other amazing skills and talents
yeah,
that you couldn't leverage in that capacity. And I think that a lot of people
right,
don't realize that like it's a regulated industry and there are certain things we can and can't do. Yet you had the potential and opportunity to realize, and I think you said this on our call where you were like, I realized that there was this opportunity here for the things
mhm,
I learned here. So I'm going to let you get into that a little bit, but like, how did
yeah,
you leverage those things that you had to start
mhm,
revolutionizing how people think of mental health and specifically with women and girls?
yeah, totally. Well, I think what you have helped me to articulate actually is that, I have always been passionate about supporting women's psychological health, but like I also did a yoga teacher training back in 2012 and a restorative yoga teacher training in 2014. And I got really passionate about like somatic practices that
Mhm.
support like body-based health and mental health. And so my coaching practice has been this really beautiful like bridge almost of between psychological and physiological health for women. So bringing together those worlds and making and sort of taking a much more holistic approach, which I do in my therapy practice. But like you said, like I am somewhat limited, right, in what I can do, and also
Yeah.
in who I can practice, who I can work with, because I'm only licensed in Hawaii,
Yeah.
right? Whereas in my coaching practice, I can blend all the things that I love and that I'm excellent at, and I can, you know, integrate neuroscience, psychology, yoga, like
Mm.
all the pieces to be able to really, like you said, like disrupt the industry and revolutionize what I'm doing and what how I'm providing mental health. And that's where like my whole embodied paradise method was born, right? Because nobody else is doing that, right?
Nope.
And this is where the whole kind of idea of like learning the tools that like therapy never taught you comes
Yes.
in, right? Because this is where therapy really doesn't teach us that what we actually need in order like to achieve sustainable mental health and wellness is already here, right? It's
Ugh,
already within us. It's like we look outside of ourselves for all the answers going through life and for validation and love and support and all the things, and we like, you know, do all the temporary band-aid solutions that we can come up with and fill our
yeah.
day with more and more and more, and we're not giving ourselves permission to like actually slow down, to recognize that who we are is enough, and to get ourselves to a place of like really turning the awareness inward rather than outward so that we can like optimize our nervous system, which really is the key for sustainable mental health and wellness. And that is the thing that I think more and more people are starting to catch on to,
Yeah.
but that's the piece that I think has been game changing for my business.
And it's been missing, right? Like I
Yeah.
think that that's the conversation where I tell
Yeah.
people, I'm like, people come to me and they realize they know whether or not they're saying it out loud, like here's a gap. They know
Yeah.
there's a gap. They know there's something missing from
Yeah.
how it's typically been done in the industry.
Yeah.
And they know that they have a way to be able to do that, but they're not quite sure how to formulate those pieces together and bring it together. And I think that was the conversation you and I had where you came to me and you're like, I've got these amazing skills and talents. And you had the drive and the ability to see that women
Hmm.
needed more. They had
Yeah.
such a bigger opportunity and you wanted to bring that holistically together. And that's exactly what you did. And it truly is revolutionary being able to do what your therapist never taught you and be able to bring in the holistic approach to mental health that really isn't being leveraged right now in the industry. So
Yeah.
I love that. And I think just so everyone hears this, that is amazing. Like, I don't think you understand how incredible what she's able to accomplish with her clients and serve at that capacity where we're not just taking a singular change that we wanted to in the past, but able to do that in a way that truly changes their entire life because it's not
Hmm.
just one piece of the puzzle. And oftentimes that's what happens, right? In a lot of what we're doing, other people have solved one piece of the puzzle, but they've left all this other part unresolved. And you saw that, you
Yes.
saw, and we're like, I can fix this. There's ways to make this better. So share with us,
100%.
how do you feel that that gives you an edge over your competition right now?
Totally. Um, well, I don't see anyone else. Number one, I live in Hawaii, right? So I am surrounded by paradise 24/7. However, my embodied paradise method is actually about creating your own internal sanctuary, right? And your own inner paradise. And so using that methodology, right? Using this whole concept of like creating our own personal paradise, actually accessing those like experiential somatic strategies that I know and love, and I know that they work. And then getting into, like you were saying, it's like we got to create safety in the body first,
Mhm.
and then we can reframe the mental processes. And that's where like my whole conscious reframing techniques come in, right? And so then from there, being able to, and this was a huge piece that you helped me to like articulate, right, was then the final piece of like, okay, we've now created safety in the body, we've now learned how to rewire like our mental processes, but now we like tap into that like core of who we
Mm,
are. And that's the piece that like I couldn't put words to honestly, right? And that's where like elite embodiment comes in.
yeah.
And you and I danced around this for so long of like, what do I call this, what do I call this?
Yes.
And finally giving it like a name and like a a home and like words that can just help people understand, like elite embodiment is about coming home to your authentic self, like the soul, the core of who you are.
Ugh,
That like coconut metaphor that we came up with was just, it was incredible, right? Like all those layers of stress that like
yes.
weigh us down, that like the inside of that is who we are, that like juicy divine core, that is what we're trying to access. And so I'm so grateful for you for like helping me get to that messaging.
Ugh. Well, I'm grateful
Yeah.
for you being able to revolutionize the mental health industry because
Yeah.
I know how many people need what you're doing and how you serve. And it wasn't a space that wasn't being served. So I love that. So share with me a little bit about, now that we've talked a little bit about the method and what it's done, how has this gone on to affect your business, your life, your work with your clients? How are you seeing
Hmm.
those effects after the fact that we've done this?
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's honestly incredible to hear from like my friends, my colleagues, total strangers who are like signing up to watch my bingeable series, like, that what I'm offering is so valuable and so helpful. And that like so many different people have said to me, like, whatever you're doing, I love it. Like
Oh,
whatever this thing is that you're doing is amazing. And like, I'll be honest, like I was really nervous to like put this out there, right? Because I've been conditioned and trained to do things in such a like
yep.
systematic like way that is approved by like my community of like
Industry and
therapeutic
community.
and
Yep.
industry. Yeah. And so this is very different. Like this was a huge risk for me to like step into the coaching world. And I feel so confident in being able to do that and being able to offer, the various like things, programs and packages and things that I'm offering, like clients see the value of that. And
Mm.
it's so incredible to hear from women who are literally like leaving me messages. Like I got the other day, I got like a voice note from someone who was like, this mental health book club is incredible. What you're doing is incredible.
Mm.
Like it just is so,
Yes.
it's
It's
just,
life
yeah,
changing. Their
it's life
lives are being
changing.
changed. It's like the ripple effect. What
Yeah.
you did in taking a chance, which by the way, I want to reiterate that because I don't
Yeah.
think anyone talks about that when you're innovating and when you're like changing
Oh,
and
it's so
revolutionizing.
scary.
It's
Yeah.
scary, guys.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want to pretend like it's easy peasy. It's scary because
Yeah.
you're essentially going against the norm and saying, nope, while I see the value and benefits, and sometimes we don't, here's
Hmm.
what really needs to happen. And
Yeah.
taking that big chance. And I'll even take it one step further when you and I had that conversation where I was like, you need to talk about how it's everything your therapist didn't tell you. And you're like, but Naz, I'm a therapist.
I
And I was like,
know.
that's okay. But you had to take that
Yeah.
risk and that chance. And as a result of you taking that risk and that chance to revolutionize, to
Hmm.
innovate,
Yeah.
you have people now you are the gift. You are the
Yeah.
gift that like changes their lives on the most like deep cellular level. So I
Totally.
freaking love hearing that. It makes me like teary eyed to
Totally.
think about your clients having the best experience ever with you.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, it's really, it's just, yeah, it's been game changing.
I love it. So we're
Yeah.
going to kind of go in reverse a little bit, but what
Yeah.
kind of led you to working with me? Like what was your reasoning or what made you think, okay, maybe I need to listen to Naz and see what she's all about? Tell me a little bit about that.
Okay, so well, you came into my world probably a year or so maybe before I signed up to work with you. And like I was watching and I was in your space and you and I had a conversation early on maybe in that year and I wasn't ready at that point quite yet. But one of the things I really appreciated was like you asked questions and you really listened. Like
Mhm,
you really listened. Like we had like some meaningful conversations just over like messenger,
mhm.
and then beyond that, when I was finally ready to work with you, and I remember being like, what is this Netflix thing she keeps talking about? Like the thing that you tell me all the time, like just keep talking about it, Sarah. Like they're gonna hear you, they're gonna get it. Like that's what happened to me. There was like this moment where I was like, I freaking need something that's gonna like propel my business forward.
Mhm.
And I was ready, and I watched your series and I was like, God, I need what she's offering, And then I signed up on a call with you. And I'm going to be really honest, like one of the things that, and this may sound crazy to people, I knew already just from like the videos, your skills and what you could offer. I didn't know the program, but I knew the gist, right? Of
Yeah.
like what you were offering. I said yes to you because you are you and because you're a mom. And honestly, I had an opportunity to work with another coach who is
Mhm.
not a mom. And I wasn't feeling it. She was great, but like I just like there was something about you that felt so relatable. And I
Mhm.
so appreciate your like you're real. You're no BS, you know, and like you're gonna tell me what I need to hear and like
Yep.
what the things that maybe others wouldn't want to hear, but at the same time, you're like, kiddo's gonna come in the room and you're managing your real life, which is
Yep.
just like so refreshing, you know?
Oh,
And so I was like, okay, yes, I will take this leap with you because I can relate to you and I think you can really help me.
I love that. By the way, this is
Yeah.
the first time I'm hearing that. So I love,
Oh my God,
I
no
love
way.
that. I mean, I didn't know that me being a mom was a part
Oh,
of it. And I
oh
will
my God, it
share
was
with
huge.
you that for years and years, I felt
Mhm.
like that was something I needed to hide
Yeah.
and not share with the world because being a
Yeah.
mom made me feel like I was less than. There's all these other people who, and
Yeah.
I realized very quickly that I was like, listen, moms are really freaking awesome for a lot of reasons. We're not going to get
Yeah.
into that right now,
Yeah.
but the ability to be able to speak and do the things that you're doing and change lives while still being a parent and like being able to
Yeah.
handle those both just makes us better. So I just
Oh
love
my
that you even
God.
shared that. So
Oh, totally. No, that was like the most relatable thing. Yeah.
I love that. And she's right, by the way. I tell people all the time, like, if you're going to come into my world, I don't call myself a real talk strategist for no reason. That actually came from a name other people called me, is because I'm going to give it to you real, like it or not. Like, I'm here to help you change and become who you want to become, not just to help coddle you and make you feel good. So that's
Right.
definitely
And
a
that's
caveat that some people
and
may not
and
like.
that's where the change happens though. Like why would you pay all this money and sign up with someone who isn't going to give you that real talk? Like
I
that
don't
makes no
know.
sense. So I always loved your honesty and
Oh, I love
appreciated
it.
that.
I
Yeah.
love it. So share with us, what are some of the big wins that you feel really like excited about?
I mean, I think my bingeable is for sure my biggest win so far. Like, and it's a work in progress, right? Like
Yep.
I'm gonna work on shortening it and all these things, but it was getting to that point was like, hallelujah, you know, like it felt so good. But also like because of that, and because that's given me more confidence to like put my message out there in all these different ways and hire a VA, like I've increased my visibility for the last couple
Mm,
months, like
yeah.
to totally new levels. And I booked like, I don't know, 7, 10 podcasts. Like I booked a TV show. Hello.
Oh,
I'm published 2 articles. One's coming out next week. You know, like my group program in emotional regulation is about to launch this summer. Like just like all these things, I feel like there's so much synergy, but it's like all
mhm.
coming together at the perfect time in the perfect way that I couldn't really plan for, but I just trusted, you know, and like here we are.
I love it.
So
And I
yeah,
think that's an important conversation. It's when all the
yeah,
pieces come together, right? And it's not
yes.
easy. Like, let's
Oh
be
my God.
really real. It's not easy. I tell
Oh
people
no.
like, listen to what my clients say, because I will be clear that it's not easy but you're innovating, you're revolutionizing, you're changing
Yeah.
the way things are done. And then you're bringing that to life and marketing it. There's a lot of integrated pieces into it, but when it does
Yeah.
come together, it's like synergy. It really is like all the
Yeah.
pieces come together. So my last question for you, if anyone was on the fence about working with me thinking, should I work with Naz and her easy yes method? What would you say to them?
Oh my God. I would say 100% yes. I would say that like you're a marketing genius, you are a social media genius. Like your approach. Also, by the way, I have had people who have like colleagues that are in the therapy industry have said to me, "Are you working with someone? Like, what are you doing? How are you learning this? Because it's genius." Like people have commented that like the
Hmm.
approach itself is genius, you know? So yes, of course they should work with you. Like I think the methodology, the process, yes, it is a ton of work and you have to be invested in it. And like there were a lot of nights where I would like work a full day of my therapy practice seeing clients. And then at nighttime, I would like jam away on my homework and all the
Yep.
things that I needed to do in your program. But that like what you gave me was like strategy, structure, messaging. Like those were the things that I didn't have.
Mhm.
Um, and that has been game changing.
Ah, well, thank you so much for being here, for sharing your message, sharing how you're innovating. I would love to just take it back to if someone were looking for a way to learn more about the incredible work that you're doing and the elite embodiment and all that paradise, where can they learn more about you and what you do?
Totally. Just literally click on my Facebook profile cover photo and you will see all the things. You can watch my bingeable series. You can sign up for a free holistic health audit. Like you can do all the things so that we can connect and I can see how I could possibly support you or just learn more about what you offer and what it is that you are needing individually that would support your mental health and wellness.
I love that. And we'll link that down below for you guys watching. But for those of you who are watching who are thinking, oh my gosh, I want to be able to innovate and revolutionize and finally bring my message to the world in a way that truly resonates and changes the game, I want to invite you to either check out our bingeable miniseries if you haven't already. You can check that out at easyesleads.com or book your free client audit where we will actually go through your process right now, look at where we can actually optimize your messaging, your marketing, and be able to develop a sales system that allows you to get your leads to sell themselves and truly understand what you do. You can head over to easyesleads.com/call and we will have a chat with you. But again, thank you so much for being here, Sarah. And I appreciate everything. And until next time, bye guys.
Thank you.